Alright, well, hello YouTube, this is Joseph Quick here, and today I'm going to do my own product review on the Lugarti Premium Tarantula Substrate. I personally love this because, as you guys can tell, that's pretty much all I'm wanting to use. And also, too, this substrate, come on, this substrate is actually, it's not very well known, such as, I have an empty bag, as Zoomed and all living things and substrates like that. So the place I get mine from is called Surfentarium. It's called the Surfentarium, and that's the place I'm only going to get spiders, substrate, reptiles, all that stuff. I'm only going to them. Just throwing that out there, because they know their stuff. But, so I'm going to go ahead and read to you guys what it says on the back, okay, of the Lugarti Premium Tarantula Substrate. This is an 8-quart bag, or for those of you that are in metric, 7.57 liters. Okay, so here we go. One of the most critical factors in caring for tarantulas in captivity is using the right substrate. The most common used substrates in the industry are cocoa coir and vermiculite. The problem with these substrates is they are always either too dry or too wet, and neither of them will hold a proper burrow. From what I've heard and what I've seen and heard, cocoa coir and cocoa fiber, actually the guy Dark Den, he on his channel, I think he only uses cocoa fiber, or he does a mixture, but he mainly uses cocoa fiber for his fossorial, arboreal, and I can't think, got it on here, and terrestrial tarantulas. Uses it for all of his tarantulas. I can't remember if he does a mixture or not. So, but also too, at the same time, tarantulas, they don't just make the burrow and then that's it. They actually go in and they web the interior to give it extra support. So the cocoa coir, cocoa coir and cocoa fiber, that's more of your opinion. Okay? And then it continues to read, whether you have a terrestrial or an arboreal species, Lugarti's premium tarantula substrate allows you to simulate a natural habitat and control important humidity parameters per your species' specific requirements. A lot of tarantulas don't need much humidity, because they get that from their water dish and their food. Or, in my case, I'm working on mine, getting mine all set up, and I'm using terrarium grass. Now just throw a few spritz of this in there and it's fine. But humidity, yeah, that can be one of those things of, you gotta, but actually a really good example is the Actually, you know what? I'm going to use my Bahia Scarlet and a camel spider. It's two very good examples. The Bahia Scarlet, I did some research, and of course, if you guys know my channel, I write down humidity, temperature, their name, all that stuff on their enclosure. So I've actually got that written right here. And for the Bahia Scarlet, it says humidity, I got this from a trusted website, 65 to 70% humidity. So does that mean that a camel spider will also need that much humidity? No, they won't need that much humidity. Of course, I know you won't have a camel spider as a pet, but I'm just using that as an example because they live out in the desert. Camel spider, desert. Bahia Scarlet, jungle. So that's where the humidity kind of goes into play. Okay, and then it goes on to read, holds perfect burrows, which I can actually testify because I accidentally thought I had messed up my Bahia Scarlet's burrow entrance whenever I was redoing it. I just redid some stuff real fast. And I just took my little Sharpie, cleaned it out, and it was actually fine. So I can testify to that. Then it says regulates humidity. I just went over that. Okay. Instructions for use. For slings to adults, arboreal to terrestrial species. Simply fill the enclosure via container, terrarium, etc. with a depth 4 to 5 times the height, not length, of your tarantula and pack down firmly. Well, if you think about it, my Bahia Scarlet, I've got about... I'm trying to find something that everybody knows. Here we go. Just use these. So my deepest part of my Bahia Scarlets is about, it's to the base, whenever you're holding your feeding tongs, to the base of the grooves. So from here to here. That's how deep it is on my Bahia Scarlet. Because they can burrow and they're fossorial and arboreal. Now for my Trinidad chevron, his deepest part is actually that deep because he's a terrestrial or arboreal, whatever, he climbs. So for that one I don't really so much as agree with, because you have different enclosures and different size tarantulas. Because you may have a terrestrial, a boreal climb, that's right. You may have a terrestrial tarantula that only needs an inch. Only needs an inch of substrate. And they're fine. But it's like, but it's like that big. I'm probably exaggerating, but just to make a point, you don't need to add that much substrate whenever it only needs that much. Essentially, then you're just wasting substrate. But now, I will say this, I do agree with that. If you're doing something as I am doing, I am actually making my 2 tarantula enclosures bioactive. So of course I'm going to put in a little bit more substrate than I should. Because I'm trying to make them bioactive. And I actually just went to a reptile store and got some isopods. It was your white dwarf isopods. And I just asked them if I could get 1 cup cut in half, 2 separate cups. One for my Bahia Scarlet and one for my Trinidad Chevron. And they did. So if you're asking, you're nice enough, they can do things like that for you. But at the same time too, you guys need to know your own tarantulas. So, well, back to the product review. The way I've got it set up is my Bahia Scarlet has a lot because it burrows more than my Chevron, than my Trinidad Chevron. It burrows more than that one. So, of course, Bahia Scarlet is going to get deeper. Whereas my Trinidad Chevron is going to get maybe like 2 inches. I bet you at my thickest part, it's about 2 inches. But I just wanted to do a product review on, once again, the Lugarti Premium Tarantula Substrate. And yes, I did get another bag. I absolutely love this. And it is 8 dry quarts. And the next tarantula I get, I'm going to do a terrarium. No, I'm going to do an enclosure setup. And I'm thinking of getting a reverse rhino horn tarantula. Can't think of the name at the moment. It's either that, a Mexican red knee, a Mexican red hump, red bump, or I'm trying to think of what the other one is. Hey, it'll come to me. But whatever I do that with, I'm going to do an enclosure setup. And if Buddy still hasn't gone through his first shed by the time I get it, by the time I get my next tarantula, that one is going to be my first 100% bioactive enclosure. And I'm hoping they'll be big enough to where I can actually put in some mealworms. Put in like a little deli cup or something. Or this is a Capri Sun, and this is what I've got as my Bahia Scarlet's water dish. I just cut a section of it off. But just take a section of this, cut it, set it in there, and make that his food dish. So I'll figure that out. It'll all just have to fall into play. But there is my Lugarti Premium Tarantula Substrate review. Once again, I personally love it. It is absolutely amazing. And yes, it is a little pricey. For me to get one bag, I'm looking at spending $11 before taxes. But it's worth it. Because I love it. I love the stuff. And so do my tarantulas. Because I made them little tiny burrows. About that big. Like, say that piece there isn't there. That's how big this is how big their burrows are. And they absolutely love them. So, they love it, I love it. And also, too, it's easy to clean. It's not dusty like some of the other stuff. But, alrighty. So, gonna get out of here. Remember, stay safe and be prepared. Peace.